How's it going, Yankee fans? Welcome back to Fireside Yankees with your boys Alex and Ryan. So, some big news dropping today. Yamamoto, of course, we've talked about him extensively, and Juan Soto. Some really big updates on the negotiation front that Andy Martino of SNY reported this morning. So, there are a lot of things ongoing. There are a lot of things that are heating up. This is real, guys. Like, we talked about it as a speculative measure a couple of weeks, if not months ago. This is a real situation where the Yankees could get the best pitching prospect on the market. You know, of course, coming from the JPPL, coming from, a league that isn't obviously at the level of MLB, but he is a 25-year-old stud, and his pitch mix is phenomenal. Good velocity. Everything about Yamamoto screams that he's going to be a really solid MLB player, even if it takes him a couple of weeks, if not months, to get kind of in the groove of what the Yankees are expecting from a player of that magnitude and that investment, really. And then Juan Soto, you guys know, if we, watching the Yankees last year, the 2 month period where Aaron Judge went down, it was almost unwatchable. Juan Soto makes it watchable. I'm freaking watching every game. If we have Aaron Judge and Juan Soto in the lineup next year, I am watching every single freaking game. If the Yankees want to boost their viewership, if the Yankees want to boost their sales, if the Yankees want to sell more chicken tendies than any organization in the history of sports, they're going to go get Juan Soto and increase those chicken tendy prices by 10% because you know it's coming. But at the end of the day, there's a lot to update you guys on. It's going to be exciting. The next couple of weeks are going to be really, really aggressive in terms of the pursuit and what the Yankees are willing to do on this front, especially the winter meetings about a week away. So, Ryan, how are you feeling? Break us down. The reports you're seeing on Yamamoto and, of course, Juan Soto.
Yeah, so Alex, let's not try to beat around the bush here in terms of what Juan Soto would do for us. Not saying you would, but you were. But for fans who are gonna try to do this whole, well, he doesn't make them a World Series caliber team. Well, Juan Soto doesn't fix all the Yankees' problems. Alex, I mean, man, there's not one player on the planet who fixes every team's problems. But guess what? Juan Soto checks off about every box you could possibly imagine. Sure, would the Yankees like to get starting pitching after that? Absolutely, sure. Could the Yankees use a center fielder still? Absolutely, but I'm sorry, not to be blunt here, but who freaking cares, right? It's Juan Soto. There is no player on this market who you can feasibly get. I understand Shohei Ohtani would be an unbelievable get, but you're not getting Shohei Ohtani. The Yankees are not in that sweepstakes. They're not going to be involved in the sweepstakes for Shohei Ohtani. Just bursting every bubble there. But Juan Soto had a 410 OBP this past season. In his career, he has a 421 OBP. Nobody in baseball has a higher OBP than Juan Soto since he debuted in the league. The Yankees, in terms of on-base percentage, were in the bottom 5 this past season at just 304. And then looking in terms of just the raw power numbers, this guy just hit 35 home runs last year in his age 25 season. And, who's to say that Juan Soto's done getting better? Juan Soto is entering his age 25 season. I might have said 35 home runs his age 25 season. I meant 35 in his age 24 season. He turned 25 this past October. He has not taken a single play appearance as a 25-year-old at the professional level yet. So, there is a lot of room to grow here. Aaron Judge didn't become Aaron Judge until he was 25, right? There are plenty of players who didn't become, otherworldly talents until they were 25. And Juan Soto already is that otherworldly talent. The Yankees and Padres exchanging names does not mean a deal is done, obviously. Andy Martino even clarified that they are not close in an agreement, and that's expected. We're not into the winter meetings yet, and if the Padres completed a deal for Juan Soto before the winter meetings, that would be foolish. I'm not trying to say that I wouldn't want that. I would want that because I want my team to get, what's best for them. But for the Padres' perspective, you got to negotiate with other teams. You've got to drive up that price. You've got to do everything you can to create leverage. But end of the day, again, strikes out less than he walks, and has never struck out more than 20% of the time in a season, has never walked below 16% of the time in a season, is left-handed. I don't know a better fit. I'm struggling every time we sit here. I'm struggling to picture the Yankees with Juan Soto because it's so perfect. And you put that next to Aaron Judge, and you think of that lineup, and you think of how dominant they'd be. They'd be getting younger because you'd be having a 25-year-old left fielder. Alex, you know of a 25-year-old left fielder that the Yankees can acquire right now to bolster their outfield? I don't know one, and if there is, it's probably some minor league free agent who's not going to impact the team very much. So, end of the day, you're getting younger. You're getting a guy you can add to your core. You put that around Austin Wells and Anthony Vulpi, and maybe Oswald Peraza, your third baseman, and as Jason Dominguez comes back, and maybe Spencer Jones or Everson Pereira are still here. I imagine one of the two are gone in a Soto deal. Pitchers, right? Let's say Chase Hampton's dealt, and you still have Drew Thorpe. You have him in your system still. You have Clayton Beeter. You have Brock Selvage. You have a lot of guys in the Florida Complex League who that team is one of the most talented Florida Complex League teams you've seen in a very long time. That pool of talent would remain untouched most likely, considering that the Padres really want, more major league ready talent. the pipeline of prospects for the Yankees is not going to stop if they trade Soto. Another argument I've seen is that the Yankees would be selling the farm and ruining their future for Juan Soto. That couldn't be further from the truth. If you're paying attention to the Yankees farm system, if you're paying attention to what's going on internally, if you're paying attention to where their talent is most diversified, yes, a lot of it's at AA, but there is a lot of really good ball playing going on at the Florida Complex League that's going to come into single A next year. And so, Alex, I think you can keep your farm intact. I think you can get a lot better, and I think you get a lot younger. And so those are the three things the Yankees are looking to accomplish from a roster perspective. And then from a baseball perspective, left-handed, doesn't strike out, hits a bunch of home runs. There's just no other way to put this. He needs to be a New York Yankee.
I mean, look, so Andy Martino said that they want top flight prospects, right? They want like the Anthony Volpes, Jason Dominguez of the world. That's not going to happen, guys. It's not going to freaking happen. They're not getting Volpe or Jason from anybody. You know, I don't think, especially because they have to offload the contract and maybe pair like a Jake Cronenworth with Juan Soto. For 1 year rental, I just don't see how they're going to get a prospect of that magnitude. It's possible, right? Like, I guess it's possible. Ultimately, he's not under if he was under contract right now, I feel like he'd actually have more value because you'd have him for the long term instead of him potentially walking. So, you kind of look at what they did with Max Scherzer, the Mets did with Max Scherzer and Justin Verlander. They were on contracts, and, obviously they traded them with their contracts because of that control factor, and they got like really good prospects in return. AJ Preller's trying to get the most he possibly can. We know this. He's going to try to do that. That's the obvious move to make. Doing anything other than that would be the dumbest thing in GM history. However, we also have to acknowledge the fact he's coming from a place where he doesn't have much leverage. Teams know that he has to trade him. Like, he has no choice unless they find a way to get rid of salary elsewhere, which is not so easy to dump salaries without attaching big-name players and getting value in return. Juan Soto is the only way that you're going to be able to get rid of contracts, get rid of money, and get value in return. And Preller knows this. Xander Bogaerts on a huge deal. Manny Machado's on a huge deal. They just lost a bunch of pitching. They can't spend on pitching. They have to get MLB controllable talent at a cheap price point. The Yankees have that, right? They have Clark Schmidt, even Michael King. If it came down to Michael King, I feel like you'd have to pull the trigger there for Juan Soto. It's Juan freaking Soto. You go out, you get Yamamoto, you bring back Frankie Montas on a 1 year deal, and you just ride. You roll with that. Clark Schmidt hopefully takes a big step forward, and Michael King is ultimately your sacrificial lamb. I would hate to do that because I love Michael King. I think he could be a stud, but he's not getting in the way of getting Juan Soto, and that's the honest truth. I think most people would probably agree with that. So right now, however, the trade talks are ongoing. Now, Martino reports that there are names being thrown out there. They're talking about prospective deals. Now, I'm sure that Cashman's like, we'll give you these guys, and they're like, no way, we want better. And this is just going to drag along for the next couple of weeks until finally Preller's like, all right, like nobody's biting on what I'm asking for. We need to lessen our price. We need to lessen our cost. If Cashman's sitting there saying, we'll give you Clark Schmidt, we'll give you Everson Pereira, and we'll give you another, one of our top pitching prospects, whichever one you'd want. We'll give you your choose of the lot. You want Will Warren, you want Clayton Beater, you want Drew Thorpe, Chase Hampton, Richard Fitz. You pick. We'll give you any of those you guys you want. And we'll move forward with that. Maybe you take Drew Thorpe out of that because I feel like if you're going to have a Clark Schmidt and then another pitching prospect, you probably want to keep your best one. So I feel as though right now the Yankees have the leverage, they have the resources, they have the prospects. Now it's just a matter of waiting out AJ Preller, waiting for him to say to himself, we're not going to get what we're asking for. We have to lessen the price. Now the question here is, there's a bit of leverage that he has. And the leverage that he has is that if he forces the Yankees to wait a long time, they're going to miss out on every other free agent, right? They're going to miss out on Bellinger. They're going to miss out on anybody that is worthwhile actually going out and acquiring. What do you think about that? Like, AJ Preller can just force the Yankees to wait, and the Yankees now have no leverage because they have to get Juan Soto, and he knows that. There has to be a middle ground that they come to, but there's two sides to the equation here, and the Yankees right now have the leverage, but very, very quickly, it could change. So I'm curious to get your thoughts on that.
Well, my counter argument would be that if the Yankees are waiting and have to wait for Soto to be dealt to make more moves, the Padres would have to wait for Soto to be dealt to make more moves. They don't have money. If they want to compete next year, if they're going to let every single free agent sign just to screw over the Yankees, sure, we'll end up getting our guy and they'll have nothing, right? Like, in my perspective, it would behoove the Padres to move Soto quickly so that they can tap into the free agent market, maybe bring back a Seth Lugo type, maybe go out and, add another starter. You probably get one in the trade with the Yankees. So let's say you get Clark Schmidt, right? And then you bring back Seth Lugo. add like a fifth starter. I don't know, take a flyer on like a Severino, Montas, Hyunjin Ryu, somebody like that. You know what I mean? Somebody with a pedigree of being a top starter in the past that can maybe, rebound a little bit next year. And you fill out your rotation. They're going to need a first baseman. They still need that. They would probably want to get, somebody in the outfield just to, bolster their depth. So, if you free up about $33 million, you have enough to do what I just laid out. You probably have enough to sign a Lugo, sign another starter, add like a first baseman, maybe sign a Rhys Hoskins, maybe you give him that flyer, or maybe the Yankees had parted with Rizzo in that deal. I know Martino had talked about that early in the offseason, though. I doubt that, just because why would the Padres want to add like $20 million towards luxury tax? I feel like the goal for them is just opening up as much money as possible, and they could always, try to just play Jake Cronenworth at first base, do Machado at third, Bogarts at short, Kim at second. I don't think they're interested in moving Ha-Seong Kim, and obviously I don't think that they're going to find suitors for Xander Bogaerts. I think they could find a suitor for Manny Machado, but at the same time, like, you're not signing Juan Soto. The whole thing is that they're probably not re-signing him, and they can't guarantee an extension. So I feel like keeping Machado and keeping Tatis is in their best interest, and then I just don't think they can find a suitor for Bogaerts, because that contract is really, really bad, or it's going to become very, very bad according to most people who are projecting his contract out. So I think the Padres have to move Soto quick, and I think they're going to want to. And it's not that it's going to cost them from getting a better offer, right? I think the Yankees know. I think the Cubs know. I'm not sure if the Mariners are going to be heavily involved. I haven't seen that much smoke there, but they should be, because that would really help them. But if the Mariners were to be involved, maybe the Red Sox throw their hat in the ring. I know that I saw some stuff about the Mets, but I also saw that the Mets are kind of like, that's not really what they're interested in, which is, blowing their whole farm system up for a guy that doesn't really put them over the edge just yet. But even if you're talking just Mariners, Cubs, Yankees, right? All three of those teams are going to have their price and say, you've got to make moves, because either you're going to make moves now or you're going to do it at some point, but you got to trade Juan Soto, right? The Yankees aren't the ones that are sitting back and saying, we absolutely have to trade for Juan Soto, because they can't control that. Only the Padres can. It's interesting, though. Like, the Yankees are very interested in Juan Soto to the point that they're exchanging names, and they've been holding out the number 18 for Yamamoto. I'm not saying the holding out 18 for Yamamoto is going to be the thing that makes Yamamoto go, yep, I'm going to take $30 million less to go to the New York Yankees. But I think it means that the Yankees are very serious about getting Yoshinobu Yamamoto. I don't think either move precludes the other. I felt that way for a little bit, like, okay, you get Soto, it's probably going to stop you from getting Yamamoto, but I think we're past that point, right? Like, why would the Yankees want Juan Soto and still feel as interested as they are in Yamamoto? Maybe reports will come out after Soto is dealt. If he becomes a Yankee, like, hey, the Yankees are no longer as interested in Yoshinobu Yamamoto. They're trying to get a little more financially flexible, and they don't think they'll be that with Yamamoto. Maybe that report comes out. But from what we know right now, number one, the Padres need to move Soto, because they can't get any pitching until they do so. And Preller said he wants to compete. And if AJ Preller said he wants to compete, and if AJ Preller is serious, he's going to have to do it quick. And then we also know that the Yankees' interest in Soto has not seemed to affect their interest in Yamamoto. So I think both outcomes are possible. And again, I talked about this yesterday. Alex, the need for Yamamoto offseason, what it would do for the fan base, what it would do for the team, what it would do for the brand of the New York Yankees. It's just inquantifiable, right? It's something that the Yankees need to get done, because if they do, this team's going to be a juggernaut, not just this year, it's going to be a juggernaut for years to come, and there are going to be fans in seats, and trust me, I will be one of them.
So I'm going to add in something that we've been talking about extensively to wrap up this episode. The need for youngsters to elevate their game and play good baseball. Now, what have we seen over the past couple of years? The Yankees have been good at times, but oftentimes I feel as though youngsters, they rise to the occasion when a team is performing, when a team is confident, when a team is playing well. Last year, the Yankees were playing so poorly at times. These prospects were stepping into a situation where there was no confidence. Everyone was down. You remember watching them in the dugout. Their faces looked shell-shocked. They looked like they weren't even alive at half of the time. And that was disappointing, because those youngsters are trying to come up and make an impact, and they weren't able to do that because the confidence wasn't there and the leadership wasn't there at times. I think if you go get Juan Soto and you get Yoshinobu Yamamoto, you instill a level of confidence back into your organization that says, we're the New York freaking Yankees, bro. We spend big because we are the New York freaking Yankees. We do not settle for mediocrity. We do not settle for simply making the playoffs or not making it at all. We win championships here. That is what we do. If the Yankees want to commit to that, you have to go out and get the two most durable players on the market right now. Of course, Juan Soto is more of a trade asset, a trade piece, than an on-the-market type of player. But right now, most people are saying he is on the market to be acquired. So, you look at it in that perspective, two 25-year-old kids. 25-year-old kids, man, that are in the heat of their prime. They're primed to be excellent players for the next 5+ years, if not much more than that. The Yankees say they want to get younger. There's two ways to do that. You go get these two freaking durable stars, and you start to elevate some of your very promising prospects to keep costs down elsewhere. Austin Wells, good luck, buddy. You're starting next year. Anthony Vulpi, you're locking down shortstop for the foreseeable future, as was projected the entire freaking time. Oswald Peraza, you better freaking step up, buddy, because you got to fill third base for us, and DJ LeMayo can help you out. But we need you to become a good enough hitter, have enough of an offensive identity that you can lock down third base for the foreseeable future. Ben Rice, keep kicking ass. Become that first baseman in the future when Anthony Rizzo's contract expires. Jason Dominguez, hey, buddy, come back from Tommy John surgery. You're playing in center field for us next year. Everson Pereira, we need you to step up and at least fill a good depth piece, given some of these guys aren't traded. Pitching prospects, Drew Thorpe, you're starting in the rotation in 2 years, man. You know what I mean? Or in a year even, if he doesn't get dealt. The Yankees have pieces that are elevating right now. The Yankees have pieces that are cost efficient, cheap, and it's going to help you keep the costs down so you can go and acquire big players that are 25 years old. And think about the nucleus of this team, how it changes overnight. You go from being one of the oldest, ugliest teams in baseball to one of the youngest, most athletic, most upside-ridden teams in the game in one offseason. That is how you turn things around. That is how you turn the course of a season, of a team, of an organization on its head in a couple of months. You go from being old, slow, and ugly to being young, attractive, and so much upside. And that is what the Yankees have an opportunity to do right now, to overhaul that concept. And that concept is what has led us to be a freaking joke. Because right now, we have guys who can't run, we have guys that can't stay healthy, we have guys that are being paid too much to do too little. 38-year-old Josh Donaldson, no more of that. Go the opposite direction. A durable kid in his prime, in a Hall of Fame level career right now, and Juan Soto. This is the easiest decision of all. There couldn't be an easier freaking decision to make right now. So, guys, that is what I want you to think about when you think about, are the Yankees going to spend this money? Yes, they should, because their prospects coming up are going to keep things down, and the cost is going to get less as more of these young prospects take hold, and they're able to shed some of those big deadweight contracts down the road. So, as always, my friends, make sure to like and subscribe. We'll catch you guys on the next Fireside Yankees episode. Have a great day, and we'll keep you guys in the loop on any new news.